Hey, entrepreneurs, are you leaving money on the table by not preparing your business for sale? Too many entrepreneurs have the thought of selling their business, and it feels like this distant dream, often overshadowed by daily operations and growth strategies. But what if you could unlock the secrets of maximizing your business's value, set it up for a successful sale, even if you're not planning to sell it anytime soon? Well, join Profit with a Plan as we delve into the world of small business acquisitions with Marty Fahncke. Marty reveals the Wall Street strategies simplified for everyday entrepreneurs, offering you insider tips on how to prepare your business for sale and ensure that you get top value when the time comes. Don't miss this episode packed with actionable advice, and tune in to take the first step towards securing your business's future and unlocking its full potential. Hey, entrepreneurs, are you trying to make bigger profits in your small business? If you're like many of us business owners, increasing your profitability is always on your mind. And you're probably looking for ways to grow your revenue while growing your company. Well, you found the podcast that helps you share ideas to help you do just that. I'm Marcia Riner, known as the Profit Booster, and I'm a business growth strategist. I've helped tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees increased profitability, guide your growth, and plans for your future exit. Because building a highly profitable and sale-ready business creates a win-win scenario. That's more money now and a windfall when it's time to let go. And I want to share strategies that I've learned with you on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. But before we get started, I have something really cool to share with you. If you ever wanted to supercharge your business and avoid profit plateaus, do you have operational headaches or growth roadblocks? Well, I've created a brand new Profit Booster playbook just for you. Inside this playbook, you'll uncover 3 essential strategies and the quick way to take action on them. Now, this is not just a single page report, it's filled with impactful strategies, actionable steps, and expert guidance to help elevate your profits. Go download this free playbook at boostingprofit.com. All right, I'm excited to have my guest on today, Marty Fahncke. Marty is a seasoned world-class marketer with over 30 years experience in growing and scaling profitable businesses. In that time, Marty has helped hundreds of small businesses scale to over 1 billion in revenue. Marty also has over 20 years experience in small business acquisitions and has been involved in buying and selling over 450 million in small businesses. His specific area of expertise is where we're going to cover today, which is buying and selling small businesses. Wall Street acquisition styles simplified for today's entrepreneur, with a specific focus on selling your business for top value. Marty, welcome to Profit with a Plan.
Marcia, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to share with your audience today. I've been listening to your podcast and I'm honored to be one of your guests.
Oh, thank you. It's been 5.5 years and
Amazing.
260 some odd episodes.
Wow.
It's like, I just keep finding more and more guests that add tremendous value like you. So I'm excited to have you on as well.
Well, I hope to live up to that.
Of course you will. Of course you will. Okay, so I always like to start off the podcast by asking how you got into this space because, most people don't just start up in age 3 and start with their lemonade stand and end up selling companies, right?
That's true. That is very true. I accidentally stumbled into the acquisition space. I am an entrepreneur through and through. I've had small businesses since I was 12. I never did have the quintessential lemonade stand, but I've had everything else over the years. When I was in my late 20s, I partnered with a couple of guys. One of them had created an invention that was pretty cool. The other one had a lot of operational expertise. I was a great marketer. We partnered up. It was a little sporting goods product. And within 18 months, we had made that product super successful. It was selling really well in 3 different countries. And it started out in the park across the street. It was a soccer training product, and it started out with selling to kids in the neighborhood, and it grew, and we got it on television, and it did really, really well. After 18 months, somebody came along and offered us $1.5 million for the business, and that was the face we made. Wow, really?
Gosh.
We thought that was all the money in the world at the time, and we said yes, and we took the cash and ran, and that was my first taste of acquisitions. And I thought it was that easy. I thought, well, shoot, I'll just do this every year then. It's not quite that easy, but sometimes it can be just as lucrative. So that got me my first taste of building and selling businesses, and I've built and sold several over the intervening years. Since then, I've purchased businesses, I've sold businesses. I love it. I have a passion for growing and scaling profitable businesses, and more. I've always been a marketing guy. I've always built businesses through marketing, and I
Mm.
realized that building businesses through acquisitions was actually less risk and more profitable. You just had a guest talking about that just a couple of weeks ago, which is a great episode. I listened to that, and really phenomenal advice in there. But I also, if you build a business and grow it and make it valuable, then someday you're going to sell the business. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that side today.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. It's funny. The one thing that business brokers and advisors in the M&A space say, that whenever you get the first offer, that random out of the blue LOI that says, "Oh, we'd like to buy your business for $1.5 million," you usually go, "No," because it's often worth a lot more. But yeah, I love that your history had you just through the trenches and going, "Yeah, this is the space I want to be
Well,
in."
can I tell you the little secret
Yeah,
about that really quick? I'll tell you.
yeah.
So
Did it go up or did it go down after?
Well, so we took cash. They offered us cash, and we took cash, and we were fine. It was not, it was the right value, like everything was as it should be. What we didn't understand at the time, I'm going to get a little high level really quick. What we didn't understand at the time is this was a company that bought us that was doing a roll up. And it was a private equity firm, and they were getting ready to a roll up is where you take a whole bunch of businesses and you put them all together and you make them worth more
Mhm.
as a unit, that rather than each individual. We didn't know what they were doing. Had we asked for some equity instead of cash, I did some calculations a few years later after they actually went public. We would have probably walked away with about $24 million. Now,
Oh my gosh.
however, okay, number one, nobody was there to tell us that.
Of course not.
Number two, would we have like there's no crystal ball, right? If somebody
Right.
said, if you knew, well, you're going to get $24 million 4 years from now, you'd say, okay. But if you take, people like, oh, I don't want to take any equity or any stock deals because you just never know. Well, no, you don't ever know. But this was a solid company that, had we understood, we would have probably done a half and half. We would have said, look, we'll take 750 in cash and we'll roll the other into the stock, and 12 million is not bad. So, but nobody was around. We didn't know to ask. We didn't. And so
Thank you.
you really need somebody to help you out.
So selling a business, first and foremost, is not like putting your house up on the market and doing a for sale by owner thinking you're gonna walk out. There's so many nuances
Mhm.
and ways that you can improve the deal that you have, whether
Absolutely.
it's your payout or the how you're gonna tax the windfall, I
Mhm.
mean, there's a bazillion different little nuances where you absolutely need the expertise of someone who's been through it before, like
Sure.
yourself. Now, and looking back in the rearview mirror, if you had a Marty, right, to help you and advise you, you could have done so much more.
Absolutely. But
Yeah. So,
but hey, $1.5 million wasn't bad for a 18-month-old company, right?
right. And a young kid, and you
Sure.
probably, I won't ask what you did with the money because that probably didn't get reinvested into the next business. But it's like,
I don't even remember. It was so long ago, but
exactly. But okay, so we're off the rabbit, the down the rabbit hole and back on topic here. But I think that this is, real world experience in doing this. And I think that when we're talking about getting the maximum value for your company, there are ways that you can exit to increase that value as well, right? Just like we
ab
just talked about.
absolutely. Um, if you don't mind, though, I'd love to talk about the whys first
Sure,
before we
yeah,
get to
bring
the
us in.
hows, because the why is so important. And you might be listening to this and thinking, well, I don't plan on selling my business. Like, why do I even care? Like, I'm happy. I have no idea, no conception of selling my business down the road.
Right.
And so I'm kind of on a mission because I
Mhm.
have been dealing with some really, really sad scenarios lately, and I'm
Oh.
frankly don't love having to deal with them. So there's something that I call four D's and a B with regard to selling businesses and the reasons that people sell them. So the
Hmm.
four D's are divorce, debt, disagreements, and disease.
Mm.
And the B is burnout.
Burnout.
And the
Yes.
reason that this is so important is because even if you never plan to sell your business, things can happen that might force you into it.
Mm.
I have had in the last 90 days, I've had a business owners come to me who doing multi-millions of dollars a year in the past, but two of the owners got cancer.
Oh,
Their business started struggling in a big way, and their business was not ready to be sold. It was absolutely completely unprepared, but there was a timeline that we had to hit, and they wound up selling that business for pennies on the dollar
oh man.
because they weren't ready to sell their business.
Mhm.
I had another one recently who contacted us, and this was a home services business. It was owned by the dad, the husband of the family. He passed away, and he thought that when he passed away, that business would have a lot of value, and they could sell it, and that would zero. That business was worth zero, and we're going to get into a little about why. So regardless of anything else we talk about, I want people to understand the reasons why you should always have your business ready to sell, even if you never plan to sell it. Now, those are the negative, scary reasons, but they're real.
They're
They're real,
real.
Marcia. You need to think about it. People, it happens all the time. People get burned out. They wake up one day and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I am done with my business. I can't face it another day." You divorces happen. Like I said, all those things.
So
Let's move. Go ahead.
well, here's the thought on this is like, even though you're not preparing for this, and like the old adage, there's two things that are absolutely going to happen, which is death and taxes, right?
Mhm.
As business owners, we often have invested our entire life into this baby, right? Our blood, sweat, tears, nights, weekends, savings, retirement funds into this company. If you don't have a solid plan to get out and recoup some of that, then you're going to end up with zero, right? Are you just going to
Yeah.
close the doors and get
Yeah.
rid of all of that investment?
Here's the sad statistic. 85 to 90% of small businesses will never get sold. They will literally turn out the lights and walk away.
Mm.
And in the majority of those cases, the owner thought they could sell it. They thought they had a business of value. They thought that that was their retirement. They thought that was their nest egg. And then they get to the hard truth that it's not. And that's why I'm on this mission to like wake people up and be like, please don't let
Thank you.
this be you.
Thank you.
Now, that's the negative side of why you should prepare your business, even if you don't plan to sell it. Let's talk about the positive side real quick. I don't, we're done with the negative. We've scared people enough.
Get rid of
Let's
it.
talk about the positive side. So I'm going to go back to you. You mentioned selling a house. So I'm going to go back to that because most people in their lifetime might buy or sell a couple of houses.
Mhm.
Most people in their lifetime, at best, will sell one business in their entire life. So they have a lot less experience with selling a business. So let's talk about selling a house. So you wake up one day and you go, "Oh my goodness, we need to upsize or downsize or move to a
Mhm.
new location or whatever." So you ask a real estate broker to come in, and they look around and say, "Okay, here's what we need to do. You need to freshen up the paint. You got to make this repair." And you're looking
Lots
around
of
going, "Oh man,
buyers.
I live with these little things, and you just kind of ignore them." But when you have to look from a buyer's eyes, you need to spruce up the landscaping and maybe fix the roof and things like that. You stage the home for sale, right? It is not uncommon for homeowners to decide they want to sell, take the advice of a professional, get their home ready for sale, do all the things needed to freshen it up and make it look great and the biggest value in the eyes of a buyer. And then they look around going, "This place isn't half bad. I think we'll stay." It happens. It
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
Now, how does that apply to your business? Here's the thing. If you do the steps to prepare your business for sale that we're going to talk about in detail in a minute, if you do the steps to prepare your business for sale and you do everything that would make it really appealing to a future owner, guess what? You're going to love owning that business.
Yes.
And that's why
Things
preparing
like
it
that.
for sale, even if you never plan to sell it, is a wonderful thing no matter what.
Exactly. Like I mentioned, you have great revenue, you have an ease of job, you have operations that are running smoothly, you have positive increasing cash flow. I mean, you've got all these things going. It's like, hey, kind of like this company running this company. It's not as hard as it was when I first started it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Sounds like a win to me.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the whys. Now we can get
Yes,
into the hows. Is that okay?
absolutely. I love it.
Sorry
I
to
love
distract you. I'm a big believer of starting with why. So
You know what? And that's really important. So I'm glad you circled us back and brought us back into it and brought that on because these are real whys that come in.
yeah,
So thank you for sharing that.
absolutely. Yeah, of
All right. So
course.
the how now. So
All
when we're
right. So now
looking
we're
at
going to talk about 7 things you must do to get your business ready to sell, even
perfect,
if you
let's
don't
go.
want to sell it. All right. So number 1, you've got to get your financials in order. I know you talk about this a lot on your podcast and in your business. It is shocking how many entrepreneurs and small business owners have really horrible financials. They're incorrect, incomplete. They don't, even if they are correct and complete, they don't understand their financials. You need to make sure your financials are in tip top shape. They need to be accurate, up to date. If you don't know how to do it, hire somebody who does. A
Yes.
good bookkeeper is worth the price in gold. A good accountant giving you good advice is worth the price in gold. Make sure that you have somebody who's keeping everything straight and making sure you understand what your financials look like. That's a big
And,
step, but it's one that a lot of people miss.
and there's many ways to look at your books and prepare your books. There's preparing your books to run your lifestyle through the company, and there's preparing your books in a way that a seller would like to see them,
I'm
right?
going to get to that in number 6.
Oh my
I'm going
gosh.
to get
So
to that
yeah.
in number 6.
And the other thing that I think people forget about is they're not looking at just the current books. They're looking back at least 3 years.
That's number 7.
Oh,
You're jumping
see,
ahead with me.
I'm cheating. Okay, Marcia,
You're
quiet.
so excited.
Okay, so let's go back. Clean financials are absolutely number one. So yes, love it.
Absolutely. All right. Number 2 is an operating system for your business. Now, when I say an operating system, it's not software. People go, oh, it's operating system. It's Apple OS or something like that. When
Right.
I'm talking about an operating system, I'm talking about a system that runs your business from everything from who you hire, the meetings you have, the systems and processes you do, your standard operating procedures, everything. So recently, a business partner of mine likened it to if you buy a McDonald's franchise, if you lay your $5 million down and you buy a
Please.
McDonald's franchise, they're going to hand you this massive playbook and it tells you every single detail from what to have on the menu to how to train the employee or how to hire the employees, how to train the employees, how long to cook the burgers. Every step of operating that business is in the instruction manual that you get. That's the operating system of a business. And your business should be just as well documented. There's a couple of systems out there that I love. One's called EOS, or the Entrepreneurial Operating System, that
Yep.
was created by Gino Wickman.
Yep.
And another one is the Scaling Up System from Vern Harnish, which used to be called
Yep.
Gazelles. And then a more recent entry that I've actually used and quite like, because they kind of took the best practice from the others, is called the Scalable Operating System, which came out from Ryan Dice and Roland Frazier.
Love it.
You look those up, find which one that suits you, but put an operating system in your business. It will change your life, whether you sell the business or not.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. Okay, sorry. I'm really excited.
No
You're,
problem.
you are talking about all the stuff that is so incredibly important that I have been preaching on for years, and I love it that you're just concise and putting it in a 7-step process.
Oh,
So
good. Thank you. All right. Number 3 is the owner exit. Now, what do we, they're like, well, you just said even if I don't want to sell the business, how would I exit? I'm not talking about selling the business. I'm talking about exiting the business, meaning if you own a business and you're working 50, 60, I've heard 80 hours a week,
exactly.
that is not a business that has value or is sellable because it revolves around you. And a business that revolves around you is very difficult to sell because I can't sell you.
Mhm.
So you need to work on exiting yourself from the business. If you're working more than 20 hours a week in your business, that is detrimental to your business. It's detrimental to the value of the business and the ability to sell the business. And frankly, it's detrimental to your health. So the goal is having clean financials, having an operating system, doing the things to run your business properly. You shouldn't have to be in that business more than 20 hours a week. And the goal would be even less. But I do 20 because if I say five, or even like one business that I actually just acquired, I have 1 hour a week that I give into that business. And I was just talking to somebody about how much money I make for that 1 hour a week, and they were like, I don't understand that math. So I don't get too crazy with what really can happen. I try to keep it real and say, how about 20 hours a week? Because even that's hard to believe for some entrepreneurs.
Exactly, but what that does is it's not saying you're not part of the leadership or whatever. It's just that you aren't the roadblock in the process of the company, that other people are doing it. And when you sell that company, or if you decide to sell it sometime in the future, that somebody else doesn't have to get in and be the owner operator, swinging the hammer every day.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Number four is to identify a buyer and build your business to suit them. So remember the old book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Not everybody's read it. You should read it if you have, which is, and one of the habits of highly effective people is begin with the end in mind. So if you build your business knowing who will buy it and when and for how much, you'll be better off than 99% of business owners. How do you do that? Well, you start to think about who would you feel right about handing your business off to when you're ready to leave? Is it a family that comes in and operates it? Is it one of your employees? Is it a private equity firm that's doing a roll up? All of those are tangible options, and you need to think about, what do I really want to have happen to my business when I'm ready to move on, and then start to build your business around that, because you're going to make different decisions and handle it a little bit differently depending on who you're handing it off to down the road. So think about who's going to be the next happy owner of my business, and build your business to suit them so that it's attractive when the time is right.
Love it. Love
Number
it.
5 is understand your valuation target. So I would say 90, well, I'm going to go higher than that. One out of every 500 conversations I have with business owners asking how much is my business worth, 1 out of 500 will estimate accurately or too low. The other 499 always think their business is worth more than it really is.
Oh, yes. That is
It's
such a common thread.
it is. It's so common. And so if you are planning on someday selling your business and retiring, well, how much do you need to retire? What does that number look like? And is your business even close to being there, or is it on track to be there? How do you know that? Find out what your business is worth today.
Right.
Because if you think your business is worth $2 million today, and you find out it's really worth 500,000, that's going to make a big change in how you operate things and where you go and the time that you have to build the business. So get a valuation so you know where you're starting. So 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, you know where you need to be, and you need to understand how it's valued. Many people, again, back to the 1 out of 100, the other 499 think that businesses are valued on revenue. And we know it is not. What's a business valued on? Profit. I love that you have infinite profit on your screen here, because that is the most important thing in valuing a business, bar none, the profit. And so many business owners do not understand that. And so having a conversation today with an expert or professional, and just getting even if it's a rough idea, it doesn't have to be down to the penny, but a rough idea will help you a really lot. And you had something you wanted to say on this one.
Well, I was just going to say, when you know what it is and you know where you want to go, you can fill in the gap by making the changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the idea of understanding your business now and continuously, because when you understand it, then you can make those decisions to say, oh, well, if it's only valued at 500 and I thought it was at 2 million, what do I need to get to do that 2 million? How can I implement that? Right. Because
Exactly.
if you just go on with blinders going, oh, well, it's going to be 2 million, it's going to be 2 million, you're never going to hit that.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's
Love it.
so important to get that understanding today. All
Love
right, now
it.
we're going to get to 6 and 7, which you already teased a little bit. So, number 6 is focus on profit, not tax mitigation. What is Marty talking about? Time and time again, I see business owners who come to me and say, I want to sell my business. And we go through their financials and we find out that they have been working really hard to have a really great tax strategy so that they can save money on taxes for the last several years. And they show almost no profit. What did we just learn businesses are valued by?
Profit.
Profit. Well, guess what? If you have a business that's showing no profit, you have a business that has no value. And people, business owners struggle with that. They kind of, I really, I mean, I made, $500,000, but I did this and I did that. And, I don't want the IRS to take my money. Great. However, you cannot make money twice. If you made money by using great tax mitigation strategies, then you're sacrificing valuation down the road. So you need to be thinking about how to modify what you're doing, and we'll work with your your tax professional, tax advice, so that we're showing maximum profit
Exactly.
and still trying to mitigate the taxes. And number 7, how long do we need to do this for?
At
3
least 3 years,
years, at
if
least
not
3
longer.
years. Exactly.
But here's the piece that I think people forget about, right? Is going back to your think with the end in mind, right? If you are going through life and your advisors are thinking your number one goal is tax mitigation and flushing your personal life through your business, which everybody does in one way, shape, or
Mhm.
form, because certain tax professionals, their idea is to look backwards and reduce taxes. But if you bring on your advisory team, your financial and legal professionals, your marketing professionals, your advisory professionals in your
Your
business, and
acquisition professionals.
exactly. And if you talk about your long-term and short-term goals with them, they're going to adjust and advise you based on those goals and not just what they're normally set up to do, which is like in the CPA idea is to look backwards.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
that's why this is so important that you think like you want to sell your company, whether you want to sell it or not, whether Junior's going to take it over or someone's going to acquire your product because they're going to roll up, or your competition just wants your list of clients. There's many different variations on why and how you can exit your company, as you mentioned earlier. But if you don't think about those opportunities, you can never position yourself to be
Absolutely.
in a greater position to have those opportunities.
Yeah. The other thing with the whole tax mitigation thing, and I bring that up specifically because it's so common. I mean, it's just so common.
It's scary. It's how
So
much.
so you have people who are kind of living, I'll make up a number, but they're living on $80,000 a year that's been tax mitigated, and they're sacrificing a $500,000 in profit later when they sell that portion of their business. So like, well, you saved what, 15 grand a year on taxes, and it cost you a $500,000 in enterprise value. Is that, and people don't think about it. So that's why I'm here to help just get those wheels turning.
It's fantastic, the points that you've brought up that every business owner needs to hear, whether they just starting their company, they're in the middle of their version, or they're close to winding down and cruising for the next 10 years before
Mhm.
they do decide to sell it. They need to think about this stuff earlier, like way earlier, rather than later when it's too late and they can't take advantage of these opportunities.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. And
Okay.
unfortunately, most people call me about 3 weeks before they're ready to sell their business. And it's too late to fix any of this.
Isn't
And
that
what
the
I
truth?
really need them to do is call me 3 years before they're ready to
Or
sell their
earlier.
business or more, because we can help them through that process and make sure that everything's set up properly. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I love this concept because literally I've been preaching it for years. When I came out of the financial services back in 2016 and I started my practice in helping companies prepare for sale, the answer I would always get from my prospects is, oh, no, I don't want to sell right now. I'm trying to grow my company. So one of my brilliant advisors said, Marcia, stop focusing on the sale of it because they don't want to hear you. They're not in that mindset. come over into the growth side and the revenue and profit side of the company, and then say, so that you can sell it in the future. And that has
Mhm.
been a tremendous game changer because I'm talking to the business owner in their time and space that they want
Right.
to be in and focusing on growth, right? And
So
it's
maybe I have the wrong message. I need to be joining you.
yeah, no, I think you have a fantastic message, and I think you're delivering it in a way that is opening the eyes to the business owners because, again, like you just mentioned, they come to you 3 weeks before they want to sell, or the 3 weeks before they have to sell
Have to sell, which is
because
even
it's
worse.
it's a health or financial crisis that has gotten them to where they are, and now they have no options.
Hmm. Yeah,
So it's really imperative that business owners think from day one how they're going to get out of this business and maximize the value. And when
exactly.
you do that, you create a fantastic business that you love and you get a windfall when it's time to let go.
Boom. It's just that simple.
It can be. It
It
can
can
be,
be.
especially having advisors like you, Marty, that come in and say, have you thought of this? Oh,
Hmm.
no, I really didn't because I'm busy putting out fires and chasing clients.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
wow, this is great. All right. So, you've given us 7 tips after telling us the important versions of why we are going to exit our business sometime in the future. And you've given us those 7 ideas to really maximize the value. You told us again what the average time phase it is to really start considering this. But when they come to you and they want to sell their company and they want to get maximum value for it, what are some of the things they want to consider when it's really close?
When it's really close is starting to prepare the business for that new owner. Again, making sure that the everything is buttoned up and that you can hand that business off to them with assurance that it's a well-oiled machine. The other thing I'll talk about, especially with people who have had a business for a long time, is to think about the personal and psychological ramifications of selling a business. You talked about that blood and the sweat and the tears, and I've got a lot of blood and a lot of sweat and a lot of tears into a lot of businesses over the years, and some of them have kind of hurt when I've let them go. Don't just think about the dollars and cents. We also look at, what are you going to do post sale? What are you going to do with the money? What are you going to do with your time?
Right.
And start to make those preparations beforehand because we've seen a lot of kind of like seller's remorse and people that kind of like oh, I'm going to retire and I'm going to just golf all day, and 90 days later they're calling up going, you got any businesses I can buy because I got this money and I too much time, and my wife is going to kick me out of the house if I don't find something to do. And we've literally sold businesses to people. We've sold their businesses because they found out they just weren't ready. So be thinking about what your life looks like
I
if you
love
do
that.
exit your business.
I love that. And not just your life, but what's the life of your employees? How is that going to change for them? Oftentimes they're just shocked and surprised that you sold past tense the business, right?
Right.
When it comes down because you didn't give them any warning because you didn't want them to leave or do
Yeah.
that. The other thing is, I think that's really important is you have a family of customers that are out there, right? You've been serving these customers as Marcia and Company or Marty and Company for years.
Hmm.
And now there's somebody else coming in. You know, many times in the transition, customers leave because you left. And I think it's a great thing to do, which is preparing your customers as well. That there's a new sheriff in town, but he's going to continue with what we did and so stay on kind of
Yep.
thing. I think there's many opportunities at the exit, that you can do to improve the sale, right?
Yeah. And
You
that's
know,
one of the reasons we have tip number 3, which is the owner exit. If you have a personal relationship with every one of your clients, that's can be good, but it could also be very bad. So
very.
should you need to be having somebody else who's staying with the business managing those relationships so when you step away, the business doesn't fall apart.
The other thing is when you do that, when was the last time at business owners that you took a 3-week vacation without your
Hmm.
phone, without
Hmm.
the emergencies bugging you where you really weren't on vacation because you were putting out fires again? If you have step number 3 in place, you actually get the freedom that we all desire and dreamed of when we started our business, which was more free time, right?
Exactly.
More time to do the things that we want.
You
So
hit the nail on the head.
I know we could, Marty, we could probably go on for days on this
We could.
topic, talking about the benefits of getting your business ready to sell and how it pays you now and pays you later. And yeah, for, like I said, for days. But as we wrap this up, where can listeners find out more about you, your company, these 7 steps, how they can really utilize their whys and prepare for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm pretty easy to reach because there's only one Marty Fahncke in the entire world. I have a very unique name and definitely a unique last name, and I'm it. So if you Google me, you're going to find me. I'm very
Yeah,
proud to say of thousands and thousands of results that'll come up in Google, they're all positive, and that's important to me. So I can be found at westboundroad.com. That's my main company, westboundroad.com. I'm also very active on LinkedIn if you're over there, and I have just finished writing a book. And when I say a book, I mean an actual book with paper and pages. And I would love to offer your listeners a free copy of the book.
love
And
it.
like I said, not just a digital download, an actual book. And it also comes with a workbook, and the workbook covers everything we just talked about step by step. So
Love it.
both of those I would like to offer for free. It's not going to be till September that it hits the market. I don't know when this is being published, but probably a little bit before September. But you can get on the list right now if you send an email. Let me tell you the name of the book, and then we're gonna tweak it just a little bit. So the name of the book is called Boomer Sells the Business: A Step-by-Step Guide to Cashing Out and Living Large.
Love it.
Do not be again, if you're not a boomer, you can still read the book. It applies to every entrepreneur who owns a business. If you are a boomer, there's some specific stuff in there, but if you're not a boomer, still read the book. There's a lot, everything we just talked about is in there in a much more expanded version. To get a copy of the book, just send an email to me at book@boomersellsthebusiness.com. Book@boomersellsthebusiness.com. Put in the subject line profit with a plan, and that way I'll know that you heard about me through Marcia. And then we will get when the book comes out, we will get your address and we will mail you the book and the workbook free of charge. You don't have to buy it like everybody else has to. But in the meantime, before the book comes out, if you want to reach out to me for that valuation on your business or any other questions you might have, feel free to hit me up on my website at westboundroad.com.
Love it. Super valuable. And congratulations from a fellow author to a new author. Congratulations. I
Thank you.
know
I've
that
been
this
trying
is
to
a
write a
lot
book
of,
for 20 years, and
I
this year I
know,
have
right?
2 coming out. It's
Ah,
amazing. Like I went from no books to 2 books, and so I'm so excited. So
it's fantastic. And it is the birth of a child and labor of love. But I'm so proud of you and congratulations on the book coming out. So I
thank
know
you.
it'll be great. And I think I'm going to go sign up for that as well.
There you go.
All right, listeners, I hope you found an idea or two to put into your business that will help you be more profitable. And again, as Marty said, what's the number one thing that business owners look at when they're selling the business? Profit. All right. So go find ways, look at opportunities, find experts to help you improve your business. That's exactly what Marty and I do. And it's so important that you look at that every day in your business, those opportunities that you might not be able to see yourself. As I mentioned, if you want to supercharge your business, go download my new Profit Booster Playbook, packed with 3 profit strategies and the actionable steps that you can use to make this your most profitable year. Go grab it for free at boostingprofit.com. And Marty and I would love to hear your questions or comments in the thread. Tell us what's going on with your business. What was the number 1 strategy in those 7 steps that you're going to put to work like right now? Put it in the comments. There might be a tweak that one of us can provide for you. Share it with us in the comments and we'll share back with you. And while you're at it, please subscribe. You don't want to miss future shows. You can always catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players every Tuesday. And we're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thank you so much, Marty.